Hey, folks, there's going to be no intro music because it took me about 20 minutes to get everybody moved around. Below me, and looking rather skinny, is Phil Harris, in the little block, but Phil makes me feel littler. How about you?
I guess so. I
I,
guess
well,
so. You're quite a bit. Now, I used to be a big size guy, but I'm not now.
I'm still a big side guy. We ain't here to talk to you anyway. We're over here to talk to the people on the other side. Coach David Hughes and the Lady Ider softball team. First step is to get everybody to introduce themselves because we couldn't put up signs, and I'm making Phil write it down or you'll mess up your names. So we'll start on the right and go left.
You go. Okay, my name's Macklin. I pitch, and other than that, I guess I just play wherever Coach Hughes puts me.
My name is Julie Mavity. I'm a senior. I play third base.
I'm McKinley Trailer. I play shortstop.
I'm Brindley Trailer, and I pitch and play first base.
Hey, I started this by telling McKinley we had enough different shows that we've done with her that I could just put up a different picture every week. But I am going to ask you the first question, McKinley, because I've been thinking about this all day. And I'm sure you other girls play sports, and if you want to add something too. How different is it mentally playing basketball versus softball? I played a little football in my time, played a little baseball. And I know I enjoyed baseball, even though sometimes I was counting clouds, but it really is different mentally, don't you think?
Yeah, softball, you have a lot more time to sit and think about it, so you're more than likely to get in your head. But basketball is more of a instant reaction kind of sport.
Excellent, excellent. Anybody else want to add to that? Brindley, I know you got something to add.
Usually when I'm upset about softball, I just go in the dugout. There's more time to think about pretty much everything.
Coach Hughes, you've had a great group several years. Um, how has this group grown in not just their play, but their leadership and maturing into a more rounded team as they've gotten deeper into their career?
Well, I'll be honest with you. That's the reason why that these four are sitting here. They've been playing for several years, and we got two seniors here that, one of them is going to continue her career. Julie, she's going to play at Covenant College, and Michael has been playing for 5 or 6 years on the varsity, and McKinley and Brindley, the same, just a year younger. And they've been really good leaders this year for us. And, be honest with you, our success goes by, their leadership. Okay. When they're playing well, we're playing at our best. And maybe when they're, having a bad game or whatever, we might struggle a little bit. So we really depend on them, their leadership, and also, their offense and defense on the field.
Excellent. Phil, I come to you after this question. I got to ask Julie a question. During the recruiting process, was there a moment that you got your offer that you can clearly in your head go, that's the offer?
The moment I spoke to Coach Higley, I knew that was exactly where I wanted to be. He was he made the place feel like home, and the program just felt perfect for me. And when I went on campus for the first time, it was refreshing, and it's such a beautiful campus as well. I couldn't see myself anywhere else.
Excellent. Before it's over with, I'm going to talk about pitching because there's a girl up at Tennessee throwing 75 miles an hour. Coach, you got to help me figure this out. But I'm going to turn it over to you to Phil, and I'll come back when you cue me back in.
Okay. Well, Coach, I'm going to start out with you. Welcome, ladies. I've enjoyed watching, some of you play basketball, some of you play softball. Of course, y'all played multiple sports. Most of you did. Well, Coach, I want to go back to last year. It was a bit of a struggle. it was great to see the basketball team win the state championship, but it got softball behind. You were a couple of weeks behind. You didn't get to play early tournaments. I know weather was bad last year, injuries on the pitching staff. I know Brindley got shut down at the latter part of the year. And it's just one of those years. And, of course, you had the accident with the golf cart. I guess golf carts are off limits now, of course. But that, I guess, was a learning process. Has that kind of sort of helped this year to look back and say, we don't want that kind of thing to happen again? But most of it was kind of really out of your control.
Yeah, it was. We've learned a lot from last year. We went through a lot of adversity. Like you said, we missed several games. We got started late. We had injuries. And I felt like that this team is really, this year we kind of excelled throughout the year. In our defeats, we've been beat by some really good teams. And I think we've grown from that. And I think that, especially, this past area tournament, I'm hoping that we're kind of gelling at the right time. But, yeah, last year, I think made them a little bit more hungry with, what we had to deal with. And, and it's kind of paid dividends this year by the way they played. And I think I'm hoping, they've got a hunger to try to, get back to where we were 2-3 years ago in the state tournament and, make a little better showing than what we did the 2 years that we went. But I do think that, the teams that we played this year, I think the schedule, it kind of helped us as far as playing some really good teams to get us prepared for this, this point in the year. But yeah, we, like I say, we learned a lot from what we had to deal with last year and all the things.
Yeah, definitely so. And it's paid, the work's paid off. You've DeKalb County tournament runner up. Then you won the 1A Area 15 regular season. Then, of course, it was, midnight madness, I guess you could say, by the time it was over with, but won the 1A Area 15 tournament. That was huge. And I want to talk about one of the games during that tournament, and that was the Skyline game. And it was a great game for the first, really the first 6 innings. But the 4th inning, y'all didn't have a base runner. They hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 4th. But I think you saw your team, and this is probably good for your team, to see a little adversity. But all of a sudden, they come back in the top of the 5th and put a 3 spot up. That had to encourage you in that they kind of got that sense of urgency.
It did. I felt like, they responded in the right way. They didn't worry, and let it get them down as far as, getting down, in the game. They responded in the right way and fought back and took the lead. And then, had a really big inning and stretched it out. But throughout that whole tournament, I felt like that people, our players did things, the little small things that meant a whole lot. We had some put bunts down that made a difference. We had kids that put the ball into play to score, runners at third base with less than 2 outs. These type of things that, that we needed to accumulate runs and grow the deficit there and make it bigger and make it a little easier on them as far as that go. But those small things that we always preach to them, played big dividends, okay? And they played really unselfish, and they had a lot of energy, which makes a big difference. And I was just really proud of their whole effort, not just on the field, but, the way they handled themselves in the dugout, and being behind each other in that moment.
Yeah, and one key factor, and we talked about this, was in that 7th inning when you got the first 2 on and, kind of put the game away. But something odd that happened that usually don't happen, and even Coach Traylor even made the call on this, and we had talked about it. that with McKinley up at the plate and first and second with nobody out, she laid down a bunt. That was a key factor because after that, everything just kind of fell into place.
Exactly. I mean, the same thing really happened several years ago when we were in the state championship game with Summerton Christian. I had my third and fourth batter up, and they weren't expecting her to bunt, and we squeezed Savannah Hood at third base, and Kayla Norman was the hitter, and it's just those things like that. Being unselfish and doing whatever it takes to win the game. And McKinley, when she was told to lay the bunt down, I mean, she knew that was her job, and she did it. She did a great job with it. In the same tournament, Michael's younger sister Miley, she laid down a great ball. Ended up getting safe at first, and I think we might have scored a run. It's those things like that makes a difference in you. Ended up, maybe being a champion on down the road, or not. Just being unselfish and doing whatever it takes for the team to be successful and succeed and win.
Well, you're getting into the region tournament naturally. You've won the area tournament, so now you move on to the regionals at Albertville, and you'll play next week. Pitching staff-wise, you've got Macklin, and you've also got Brent. You feel pretty good about your pitching staff, I'm sure, going into the tournament, and you've got to have that if you're going to win at the when you get on into the playoffs. But the thing is hitting consistency. Do you feel good about that right now?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think Macklin has done a tremendous job. Okay, I mean, she's kind of been our workhorse a little bit. For most of the year, and Brinley's getting back, and we're getting her back into in the form as far as being able to pitch longer in the games. But she did a great job, especially like the other night. She was throwing really, really hard. Controls got better. Stamina's got better. We've also got two younger pitchers, that's done a good job. Miley, Macklin's younger sister. I mean, she's did a great job and faced some really good teams during the season and held her own. And then, McKenna Mitchell has also did a good job for us, pitching wise. So I'm really proud of our pitching staff. I think they all complement one another, and I think they, work together and as far as that goes, and I wouldn't be scared to put anybody into the fire. All four of them do a great job as far as that goes, and I'm really proud and fortunate that they're part of this team.
Of course, Coach, you've had definitely a Hall of Fame type coaching career, and at some point this is going to end for you. And we talked about this in our last podcast, but the thing is, when you get to this point in the season, that this is what a coach coaches for. This is when you become the kid again and really enjoy things, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've tried to hang on. We won three championships here a while back, and we played in 6 others, and I wanted to see another team be able to experience that success and be able to experience that on the field. And I told these girls going into this year that I felt like never really had this feeling in a while that that they could reach that point. And I think this team has that chance to do that. And I just hope that they understand how close they are to it and how attainable it is, because it's something very special. I told them today, every year there's only like really 7 teams that are able to experience that each year, and they're ranked number 1, and I want them to understand that people have gave them the respect of that, and I hope that they carry it to the field and display that and represent that in the the way that they should, you know, and so, yeah, it's, I'm getting close to the end as far as that goes, but like I say, I do want to see, you know, Ider, you know, be able to achieve that goal and win another one or two or three or whatever, you know, as far as that goes. I think.
Yeah, of course, y'all made it to I think the Elite Eight in 22 and 23. And then I think the last time you got to the Final Four was maybe somewhere around 2015. So, it'd be nice to get back to that point. And that's why I want to kind of bring up a young lady we talked about when you knew I were talking was Hillary Phillips Wigley. Her footprint and her legacy is all over this Ider program. And you look up and, she was an important part of the state championships. And I know you young ladies know exactly who she is, but she's a big part of Ider softball. And the legacy she left, I'm sure, is the kind of legacy these young ladies want to leave.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they for sure know of Hillary, and some take lessons from Hillary, and some have, and in the past, and she's did a tremendous job for our program. But Hillary would be the first one to tell you, she couldn't have done it alone by herself. She had a good nucleus around her. And, it's just like these girls sitting here, okay? And like I said, they're the leaders of this team, but they'll tell you for sure that, it takes more than just them to be able to, accomplish the things that we want to accomplish as far as that goes. There's no doubt Hillary will always be, kind of that figure as far as Ider softball goes.
Yeah, and another person too. Her dad Mark was a big part of the program. She was kind of he was kind of a catalyst to help get the program on its feet when he was with you at that time. And I'm sure he's still missed.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Mark did a tremendous job and gave a lot to our program. He helped. He was really behind as far as renovating our softball field, and now where a new gym is now. But before that, before that renovation, I mean, he did a great job in getting that going, and he did a great job. The 6 years that he helped us, in our softball program, very willing to do whatever it took as far as giving to the kids and giving his time, because him, just like McKinley's dad and McKinley's granddad. I mean, they work jobs and then they come and they still help, and that says a lot, okay, because that's a lot of sacrifice. And so when we ask these kids, hey, about sacrificing for one another, they got to realize all those sacrifices that are really been made for them, every day.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to ask you one more question. I want to talk about, and one former player, I won't call her by name, but her first letter of her name starts with Brittany. She may work at a local store, we'll call it a DG, but she's telling me back in the times, I asked her, I said, what is the most memorable thing you had when you played for Coach Hughes? And she said, duck walk. She goes, I can duck walk over this entire store and can still do it today. And I said, well, does he still make them do that? He goes, I don't think he does. I said, are you saying he's gotten soft over the years? And she goes, probably so.
Yeah, I've got away from that, but we used to really do it a lot. And these girls have done it before, but it's been a while. But some in the past were really pros at it. They got to be really pros at it.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, I want to go to the girls now. McKinley, I'll go ahead and just start with you. I know who your parents are naturally, but tell me a little bit about your parents. Tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, my dad, he's one of the strictest human beings I've ever met in my entire life. But if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be who I am today, you know. And then my mom, she's really sweet and supportive. She makes it equal between my mom and my dad, you know. My dad's screaming at me. She's like, you know, Sean, calm down. You know, so right in between, you know, they're a good even mix. And then I have my older sister Crimson, and we butt heads sometimes, but for the most part, she's like my best friend. And then I have an older brother. He's different. And then, which he is a sweetheart, okay? Like, he is sweet. And if I asked him for anything, he would go out of his way to give it to me. And then I have a little brother, and he's going to be a little baller when he gets older. But, you know, he's got to get a little bit more mature. But, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go to you, Brindley, next. I know your mother and dad's Brad and Lori. I actually met them at the softball game. Got to talk to your dad a pretty good bit. Tell us a little bit about your family.
My dad's definitely the calm one. He's the one you go to when you need to calm down or something's not going your way. He wasn't like that when I was in Pee Wee. So he kicked a few buckets when I was in Pee Wee, but he's definitely calmed down a lot. And my mom's definitely the firecracker, and you'll hear her yelling at me on the field, but behind the scenes, she's supportive. She's definitely been there for me while I've been getting back pitching and everything. And my little brother, he's good at sports and pretty calm. He's a pretty humble person. But yeah.
Well, let's shoot down to you, Michaelin. Of course, I know that your parents are Mike and Tasha. I've never met them, but tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, my dad, he carries the mail, so he's not at a lot of my games, unfortunately. But my mom, she's almost at every single one of my games for sure. She's one of my biggest supporters, 100%. And she's also a firecracker. Her and Lori are like besties. But she never fails to take up for me. She never fails to tell me when I'm doing bad. She never fails to tell me when I'm doing good. And my younger sister, Miley, she looks like my older sister for sure. She's almost double my size. She is mean as a snake, but she would probably do anything if I was in trouble. She would beat up whoever I wanted her to. She would do whatever I wanted her to, but she's something else, but I love her. But yeah.
Okay, well, that's Julie. It's your time. Now, I know your mother's name's Jill, but that's all I know. I don't know anything about in your family. Tell me a little bit about your family.
It's just me, my mom, and my dad. My dad, Travis, he's kind of the quieter one of the bunch. My mom's really outgoing. She'll hug you if she sees you. She's a huge heart. I love her to death, and they supported me my whole life. They coached me in Pee Wees. They really built me into the athlete and person I am today. Oh, and
your little brother, Charlie.
I don't have any real siblings, but I have a dog who is, if you ask my parents, he's probably the favorite child. He's my mom's lock screen. So, but human-wise, it's really just me, mom, and dad.
All right. Well, okay. Let's go back to McKinley. I want to ask you, and of course, you've got another year, but what do you want to be your legacy when you leave Ider?
Well,
I want to ask all four of you, whichever one you want. I'm going to ask all four of you this, but what do you want your legacy to be when you leave Ider?
Julie wanted to tell you first. She left this out that her dad's a big Tennessee fan. So I thought that would set well with y'all.
Okay.
Yes, man. I think one of y'all is a big Tennessee fan, right?
Actually, me and Randy both are.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, we're season ticket holders that spend a lot of time in Knoxville. You know, we enjoy it, but of course, you know, when it comes to this right here, we become individual fans, not team fans. So naturally, but yeah, that's great that he's a Tennessee fan. You know, hats off to him. I'll give him a shout out. That's for sure. But I want to ask all four of you. Of course, McKinney and Brindley, you still got another year. Each of you, whichever one of you wants to what do you want to be your legacy when you leave Ider?
I want to be a state champion in every sport I play. Pretty sweet.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we went to state volleyball, which was a really big thing because I don't know, it's been a long time since that's happened. That was definitely a good thing for senior year. And me and Julie and McKinley and Brindley, we've all been to state tournaments for softball several times, but it's not the same as bringing home something that you're going to remember. And I really love to have that for my senior year and my last softball season for sure.
All right. Whoever wants to go next? Julie?
I've been very fortunate for the past 2 years to make it pretty deep in every tournament we've been in. Last year winning state in basketball, that's obviously something I'm never going to forget. I mean, I have the hardware to remember it if I have a hard time, but I doubt I will. But like Michael said, in volleyball, we made it to the Final Four. And in basketball, we did play our best and we got put out by a very good Spring Garden team, but I would rather lose to them than anyone else because, I mean, they went on to win the whole thing. And I hope we can do the exact same thing and go even farther this softball season.
All right, Brindley?
I want to win a state championship, but even if that doesn't happen, I want to be remembered for us going out there and giving it our all and just making the community proud no matter what we do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. And I want to turn back the clock a little bit. And Brindley, you was a part of this. Last year, McKinley, when you got hurt in basketball, and I wanted to ask Brindley about this, when you got hurt in basketball, you came back during the Cab County tournament, and I was calling the game on radio that night, and and the technical foul came, and I'm kind of sort of suspicious of that, but anyway, the technical foul came, and Coach put you in to shoot free throws, and you could tell it was a special moment, and you could sense it in the crowd when I was calling on radio. And I know you were a nervous wreck because it looked like when your first free throw, the ball went down to your palm and somehow you got it to go in. But I know you was a nervous wreck. But from what I understand, it was a special moment when you turned and looked at Brindley on the bench. I understand, Brindley, that was a very special moment for you.
Well, we've pretty much grown up together and been through every sport together. So to see her not get to play how much she wanted to, it was definitely tough. And seeing her get to come back and shoot those free throws and make them, it was definitely just a good moment.
Great moment. And that came good for you too. Last year you got shut down during the end of the season, didn't get to pitch the end of the year. And that had to be very disappointing for you. But then this year, your team has success. You win the area tournament. So really you got a little payback there because, that had to be a great moment for you.
It was a great moment, and I'm glad I got to have this team to share it with, and we couldn't really do anything without the whole team. So,
yeah, definitely. Yes, I understand. Well, McKinley, I want to ask you this. I heard a little birdie told me that this year you're planning to not do travel ball. You're going to go to camps, work out with your team. You're going to cheerlead. You're going to play volleyball. You're going to play basketball and probably play softball. What I want to know is when are you going to have time to go up to Frankie's and pick up chicken fingers? Are you just going to have them Ubered to you?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know.
You don't know. But, you're going to have a busy schedule. How are you going to work all that in?
It'll be easy.
It'll be easy. Yeah, I would imagine it's going to be busy for mom and dad, though.
Yeah, but I can drive now, so if needed, I can take myself, right?
Yeah, well, that sounds like a winner. Of course, you've had very much success on the basketball court, and you've been selected for the North-South All-Star game in July, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So are you looking forward to playing in that, and when do you have to report for that?
What? The 22nd.
The 22nd. So that's going to be a big thrill for you, I'm sure. Well, Julie, I want to ask you this. You're moving on. You committed to Covenant to play, but you were also an award winner. You received an award, this Bryant Jordan Scholarship Award recipient. What did that mean to you?
I was very grateful to be not only to be chosen by my school to represent a scholar athlete, but then to make it past the area and region. It was just a very fulfilling moment to be recognized for all of my hard work, my whole career, and just to share that with the school as well, really putting Ider out on the map, not just for sports, but also academically as well. I believe that our school is very fortunate for the staff and administration we have, and it was overall just a very amazing experience.
Well, tell me this: when you do go to Covenant, are you going to live on campus, or are you just going to commute back and forth?
I have to live on campus since I'm going to be a student athlete. So.
Oh, okay. I don't know the road, but that makes sense. That does make sense. Well, Michael, I want to ask you this: what are your future plans? I don't know if you're going to try to play sport like volleyball or softball, or try to play anywhere like that. What are your future plans?
Well, I actually got a full tuition in my first year of housing to the University of Alabama. So I will move in the end of July, and I will be majoring in aerospace engineering.
Lord.
Yeah, so I plan to live in Tuscaloosa full time, but I'll be coming home whenever I can for sure. I mean, my sister, she's only in 8th grade, so I really don't want to miss a lot of her growing up. I would love to see that since she's also a very good athlete. But yeah, I'll be a full-time student at the University of Alabama.
Well, that sounds good. Back to you, Julie. I want to ask you, when your playing career ends, what are your future plans? What do you plan to major in school?
While I'm at Covenant, I plan to work towards my psychology degree. And once I graduate, to transfer to the University of Alabama to further my education in neuropsychology.
Neuropsychology. Y'all are all way too smart for me. I got a communications degree. All I know how to do is talk so far. So that's about all I've been able to figure out. Well, McKinley, I know you're probably going to want to coach when you get through, but kind of what are your plans if you don't have sports? Is that what you're planning to do, is probably teach and coach?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. And I want to go to you, Brindley. What are your future plans? Do you want to play ball at the next level? You've still got another year. There's probably going to be some options out there. It's one of your goals is to play at the next level?
If I get offered to play softball, it's definitely still on the table. But outside of softball, I want to go to college and become a radiology tech and then go from there. But yeah, if I get offered to play softball, I'm definitely still thinking about it.
Yeah, that sounds like a winner. Well, I want to know, what do you ladies enjoy doing naturally off the field when you can get away from athletics for a while? Because I know all of you play multi sports, but I'll start with you, Michael. What do you enjoy doing outside of athletics at Ider?
Most of the time I am doing schoolwork. Usually I have classes through Northeast over the summer, but I won't this time. But when I'm not doing schoolwork, I like to spend my free time at the lake riding jet skis, which is very safe if you know how to drive. Don't worry. By that time, I will not be playing anymore. But I do love to spend time at the lake with my family and my friends, and my grandparents also come. So that's really great to be able to spend that time with them as they get older. But yeah, I really just hang out with my family. So.
All right. What about you, Julie?
When I'm not playing sports, I like to rest. It's a lot, but this summer I really just plan on spending as much time with my family and friends as I can before I move off. I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't know what we'll be doing, but just genuine quality time with my friends and family and making time for them as much as I can.
Okay. What about you, McKinley? What do you like to do in your free time?
I enjoy sleeping. I enjoy eating. Most of the time I'm either hanging out with my family, her family, or my boyfriend.
Okay, what about you, Brindley?
I like to sleep a lot, but sometimes I'll go play bingo at Lamont's. So I enjoy playing bingo.
Hey, that sounds like a good hobby there. That's for sure. Well, coaches, I'll throw you in. I'll throw you into this. What are some of the things you like to do when you're away from softball?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Anything that deals, kind of with sports. I mean, whether I'm, watching another game or whatever, or basketball or football or whatever. Anything that deals with sports, I really enjoy that. Right now, though, I've got 3 grandsons, and I really enjoy, going to watch them. 2 of them are playing ball now, so I really enjoy when I get a chance and it don't interfere with, our season, which sometimes, I have to miss out on a lot as far as that goes. But I love just kind of spending time with them and watching them grow and get older as far as that goes. But yeah, that's probably all I need to say as far as some of the things I enjoy. I don't need to say.
Got to keep it G right? Yeah, definitely. Kind of like Coach Hannah. That's when I talked to Maddie about some things about him. She goes, "Well, I'm going to try to keep this G rated." Yeah,
Coach Hannah, I have some hobbies that we like, but we probably don't make them.
He's a character, that's for sure.
Really.
I want to go back to softball. McKinley, I'll start with you. What are some of the highlights of the season so far? I know, every softball season is fun, but what are some of the highlights for you? Maybe what is your most memorable game?
I don't know. It was probably winning area the other day, because I don't think we've won area since I've started playing in 7th grade. So this was our first area win. And so that's probably my most memorable game.
Okay. What about you, Brindley?
This was definitely the most memorable game for us, me too, because last year we didn't make it out of area, so making it area champs this year just made it that much better. But my most memorable moment was probably when Miley, Michael's little sister, was pitching. And a girl barely hit a ball, and she went to get it, and she tripped and face planted. It's probably the best moment of the whole season. But yeah, the best game was winning area.
Yeah, that is so. What about you, Julie?
I'd honestly have to agree. I mean, throughout the season, all of our regular season games, we kind of, the outcome that you expect is usually what we did. Like, we beat the teams that we're supposed to beat. And we battled as hard as we could against some really good teams like Springville and Wetumpka. So I think the most rewarding has to definitely be the area championship, just like Brindley McKinley said, because we haven't done that in a very long time.
Okay. What about you, Michael?
Well, I've had a lot of experiences this year. Me and my sister, we tend to get hit a lot. So we have several large bruises to show for our battle scars right now. Definitely put in our best efforts and being unselfish in that part, that's for sure. But the most rewarding outcome, like they said, is the area tournament. But going into the first Skyline game, I was very, very nervous, which I don't even know why. I've pitched several large games. But I guess because we knew that would punch our ticket in the regionals, whether or not we ended up winning later. But I ended up performing really well. I had 11 strikeouts, so that was probably my most rewarding moment. But I've been playing with all 4 of these girls since I was very, very young. So being able to win area my very last year, and especially mine and Julie's very last time playing on our home field, was definitely something that I'll remember forever.
So I definitely understand. Well, I'm going to start with you first against on this one, Michael. And this guy that sits between y'all in the middle, tell me, I'm going to put you on the spot and embarrass him if you can. But what has he meant to you? over the years playing softball for him?
Well, Coach Hughes, some days we have our really good days. Some days we have our really bad days. We tend to butt heads sometimes, and that's okay. But me and Brent have for sure hit Coach Hughes with softball several times. It's always hilarious. Definitely leaves great memories. Brindley's been the main one this year, but I've hit him several times the last few years. But he's definitely. He never fails to tell us when we're doing bad, that's for sure. And he's definitely, like you said, positive Polly. But I think probably my favorite moments is seeing Coach Hughes on the lawnmower, rolling around, and the other times I've caught him dancing to apple bottom jeans several times, which is probably the funniest moments that I've seen out of Coach Hughes. If you catch him in a good mood, you might get him to show some dance moves or something, but he's pretty serious guy
most of the time. Okay, what about you, Julie?
Aside from the continuous constructive criticism and you know what I'm talking about, but
yeah.
I think he really is a great guy. We do have our ups and downs, like Michael said. We do butt heads, which I think that's very common. But I guess my greatest memory with him is I think it was 8th grade. We were playing in Albertville, and he told me to go pitch, and I think I told him no, and he cheated me out or something, and then the next day he told me I was the first person to tell him no or something. And at the time I felt kind of bad, and I had that guilty conscience, I should have pitched, but I don't know. I think it was fun. we got past it, so great memories.
Yeah. All right. What about you, McKinley?
Okay. Well, for me, he is more of my motivator because my dad's on the sideline or baseline. Well, I don't know. Anyways, yeah. He's on the first base, So normally if I mess up, my dad's chewing me to the dugout, but Coach Hughes will come by, he'll just give me a little, and then we just go on from there. But yeah, for the most part, he's my motivator, and he cares a lot, and you can tell that he cares, and he never fails to, if I would want him to come up and open the gym and throw me some balls, he would, and I know he would. And yeah.
Okay, Brindley?
He definitely eats, sleeps, and breathes softball. He puts a lot of time and effort into this program, and he's been here since the very beginning, so there's that. And he's took a lot of hits on third base line.
That's just part of the job. Okay, I'm going to throw you at this, Coach. Tell me individually, what do you think of these 4 young ladies?
All righty.
We need to remind Coach it's G-rated right now. So,
as far as Brindley goes, I'll be honest with you. She works really hard, and it bothered me a whole lot last year when she, couldn't do some of the things that she wanted to do, because I kind of felt her, felt how frustrated she was with that. And there's nothing really that I could do as far as, helping ease that, because I knew she wanted to kind of, be able to pitch and participate, in that aspect. I do have a fond memory of Brindley one time a couple of years ago. We were playing, I don't know if we were at Glencoe or
I don't want to talk
Ohatchee. And Brand, they hit 2 or 3 home runs on her, and I just tried to ease the moment. I went out and I called time. I went out and I said, "Hey, Brindley," or are you trying to set the home run record for giving up at Ider? And, that kind of, we got a good laugh out of that. But she's, she has done a great job for us, and we expect, a big year from her. And I think really has got the ability, well, all these ladies do, but really has the ability to go play at the next level if that's what she wants to do. And then McKinley, can't say enough about, when we talk about Hillary Phillips, and what she's meant, McKinley to Ider as far as all, the sports that she participates in and everything. I mean, she excels in all those sports. She's got tremendous ability. But the thing that I admire is what she gives to the sport, what she puts in it. I mean, she's always, I've never seen her not give 100%, whether it's on the basketball floor, on the softball field, or on the volleyball court, something new to her this past year. She always gives maximum effort, and that's all we can ask from, all our kids, is they give that, the end result, we can grow from. And as far as that goes, and she's a really prime example of that. She's a good leader by example, and that's the kind of leadership that we want our kids to be is lead by example, and so the younger ones can follow. So Julie, I'll tell you what, Julie, she's been one of the versatile players that we've had that's been able to adjust to different places as far as where she's playing. I mean, she's been a midfielder. Now she's playing on the corners. She pitches really, really hard. Okay. And we've kind of missed that part of it. She's starting to kind of come back a little bit and help us with the pitching part of it. And I do know that she's probably, going to pitch at the, when she goes to Covenant. So that's going to help her out tremendously. But Julie's always been a very unselfish person. She's always, tried to do what we wanted her to do, even though at times she might have not really wanted to do it. But she's gave her best effort as far as that goes. She's always been, very positive to the other teammates. I've never really, she's never really. I don't think she's ever, had problems with other teammates, throughout the years. And she's very intelligent. Okay, what'd you make? She made a 31 on her ACT. Of course, if you want to be a neuropsychologist or whatever, it goes along with it. But she's very intelligent, and she's got great leadership qualities too. Michaelin, can't say enough. Michaelin, probably the things that really I admire about Michaelin is that she's always kind of stepped up to the challenge, and when we're playing some really tough teams, she's never shied away from it. And she's always excelled, and been successful. And like she told you earlier, in a lot of those games, I can remember, when we put Pisgah, in the regional tournament, she missed a great game as far as that goes. And she's been in a lot of tough battles, and she's, got a lot of grit, and she got a lot of, just like she said, she got hit the other night, and I know she was wearing the results, and I know that it was, it was tough, but she battled through it. She pitched really well. And she didn't let those type of things stop her from excelling and helping the team be successful. And, and that's really one thing that I'm going to remember is all the battles that she led us in as far as, pitching against some really quality teams and coming out, and leading us to some very big wins.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Coach, while you're here, there's other members of this team. Tell us about, mention their names, because I know some of them may be listening, so they would like to hear their names naturally, because, this is a team sport, even though you have probably 4 of your better ones here.
Right. Well, we got, we're very, we're young as far as age wise. We have, some 8th and 9th graders that do a tremendous job for us. We have an 8th grader, Addie White, that has done a good job behind the plate, and she's had to deal with an arm injury all year long, and she's been tough and gritty and weathered, that injury, and still, she's done a fine job. Okay, we've not given up, just a great amount of steals. She's also did a good job at the plate, came up with some timely hitting for us. Then we have, Michaelin's younger sister, Miley Troxtel. I mean, she's pitched in some big games for us and did a really, really good job in the outfield and also first base, and been a great hitter for us as far as that goes, and came up with some key hits. And she's just an 8th grader. We have Callie Whitaker, who plays in the outfield, and and she's also an 8th grader, and also started last year a lot for us, and she's did a tremendous job for us. We have a couple of newcomers that are 9th graders. Bailey Ware, she transferred from Valley Head, and last year Kaylin Greason, came from Sylvania, and these 2 girls have done tremendous jobs for us, in the outfield and also at the plate, and looking for some, big things from them on in the future. We've got a junior, Lily Weldon, probably the most unselfish kid that I've had, as far as, when her number's called, and she usually comes in and produces for us, but she's never heard a harsh word, as far as, maybe her sometimes when she doesn't get in the lineup. She's a team player. She's she does a good job when she's playing on the corners for us, or even in the outfield, and she's just try to do whatever it takes as far as what we ask her to do. Then we have McKenna Mitchell. McKenna came, she came from Henniger, and she played last year and also this year for us, and she was kind of part of that big golf cart wreck that kind of ended her season a little earlier than what it needed to last year. But she's played second base for us, and she's been a clutch hitter for us, and did a really good job in the infield, and also, pitching wise. I mean, she pitched really well against Plainview the other day when we played Plainview in the county tournament, so, let me see. And then we also, Brooklyn Wright, she's kind of, she's going to Henniger, and we're hoping we get her full-time at Ider next year, but she's able to play for us. She does a great job catching. Henniger doesn't, have a softball team, so that's how she's able to, come over and be a part of us, and she's done a great job as our backup catcher, and she's got a really strong arm, and she's always just be willing to do whatever it takes, whatever's asked of her as far as that goes. But I think that covers the rest of our lineup, our team on the varsity and everything. And we have some really great, JV kids in our program too, as far as that goes. Hopefully, they'll be part of it.
Okay, I'm gonna combine these questions, all 5 of you. I want to know, number one, what's your favorite music, what's your favorite food, what's your favorite restaurant, and then we'll go one at a time. You'll start with Michaelin first, all 5.
Well, I don't really have a specific music taste at all. I just listen to whatever. I had on a Metallica shirt today, so I just go with whatever, rap, country, 80s rock, whatever, 2000s, whatever. Food, I'm a pasta person. It's probably not good, but brings me to my favorite restaurant. I absolutely love Olive Garden. But yeah, that's all I got.
My favorite music really depends on the day, what's going on in my life, If I'm sad, I'll listen to sad music. If I'm, happy, listen to happy music. Like pregame, I'll probably listen to some rap or something. But that definitely depends. No certain or specific genre, but my favorite food is definitely crab legs, and I love to get it at Captain Jackson, Panama City Beach.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, Coach, your turn.
Well, I would say my favorite music's rap, but they would all disagree. So, but no, I like country music. I also like breakfast any time of the day. So my favorite meal is breakfast. As far as that goes, favorite foods in breakfast food. And then I like Top of the River. Okay, I enjoy Top of the River, going to Top of the River. So that's maybe one of my favorite restaurants.
Okay.
All right, McKinley.
Oh, that's a good one, but it's probably not my favorite. Okay, my favorite food is probably pasta. Well, I can go music next. Okay. My favorite music, I kind of like it all too, depending on the day. And my favorite restaurant, I don't know, but my favorite fast food restaurant's McDonald's. I'd have to think about my favorite go-in restaurant.
Crawl Mama.
Yeah.
My favorite restaurant's probably Crawl Mama's.
Okay, all right. All right, Brindley.
I like sad music all the time. Not really. I don't even have to be in the mood for it. I just like sad music. It really bothers my parents when we're on the road and they're like, I'm about to fall asleep. But I like sad music.
Oh.
And I kind of like all food, but I guess chicken. And my favorite fast food restaurant is Chick-fil-A. And yeah, I can't even think of
Chick-fil-A. Hey, that sounds like a winner. I know this has been a great year for y'all. And I know going forward, the goal is naturally to win a state championship. And naturally we want to wish y'all the best of luck. I'm gonna bring Randy back in. Slip back in, ask a couple questions. I'm sure he wants to ask you a few, but I'm gonna turn it over to him right now.
Coach, I got a degree from the University of Tennessee, and I don't think those things were in my catalog when I was going to school. I'm pretty sure aerospace wasn't an option for me. Academically, even they might have tore it out. Hey, I'm going to wrap this up fast, Coach. We talked a little about pitching. The deeper you go, I think over the last 10 years, high school baseball and softball pitching has maybe advanced more than any other area of sports I've seen. The deeper you go, the better pitching you will see. What does that mean to your hitters as you get deeper?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I speak for them. I mean, they really would like to see very quality pitching, okay? Because a lot of times when we play teams that don't have really good pitching or very slow, they have a hard time waiting on the ball and really hitting it, hard like they need to. But I think, I think we've seen some of the better pitching throughout the year from some teams. And I really think that they'll be ready for any type of speed, but they really prefer the better velocity as far as that goes.
What velocity do you see now at the high school level? Are you in the 60s?
Well, some of the bigger schools, we've seen some kids that can throw in the low 60s. Most of the time, quality pitchers, we're going to throw in the high 50s. And then there is also some, really good pitchers that throw in the mid 50s. Kind of have movement and move the ball a little bit as far as that goes. But we've seen a great variety of pitching this past year. Going from really, really slow that we can't wait on it to hey, geared up and you better be ready to swing. Have fast swing through the zone because it's coming pretty good. So we've seen a variety. Just depending on the teams that we're playing, and so that I think that's really helped us out. It's going to help us out, going into, the regional tournament. And hopefully if we get, past the regional tournament, in the state tournament.
Excellent. Listen, I had a couple more questions, but I think this one needs to be answered by everybody. Well, first I got to say one thing. McKinley, I like all food too. So you're my hero now. So that's a good thing. I went to a big high school, 1,500, 1,600 kids. And I've gotten jealous over the years because I think the smaller schools are better and you have more unity of community. We'll start over here with that Alabama scientist and work to the other end of the Alabama scientist. I'd like to hear your feelings about Ider High School, starting with Michael.
I have nothing bad to say about Ider. I couldn't imagine going to a very large school. For most of my class, we've all went to school together since we were in kindergarten. And really, pretty much once you get in high school, everybody knows everybody. Especially if you play sports, you really get to know each other that way. We don't have a big team, so it is easier for all of us to really depend on each other all the time. But we've all grown up together, so that's really brought us closer over the years. But as far as class size, I really like having a small class. It's easier when you're in actual class and you're dealing with academics. It's easier to get that one-on-one time. It's easier to understand the curriculum versus having, 100 students to a class or having multiple teachers for that thing. Most of the time we just have one teacher for every subject, so you're learning the same thing as all the other kids. But I have nothing bad to say. I love going to small school.
That's the reason you're going to land a rocket on Mars someday.
Right. Yes.
All right.
I've been very fortunate and blessed to go to Ider my whole life. For 13 years, I've represented and played sports, and just like in college, Covenant is a very small school as well. And because I don't see myself going to a big like Alabama or like Auburn or anything like that. I feel like I prosper better in the smaller settings, and I just feel like the unity and the communities that's a big part of my life, especially like academically. And I could, like you said, I could not imagine having like 1,500 people in the school compared to our how many people?
There's 40 in our senior class.
Yeah, like I couldn't imagine having like 500 in my graduating class. Like, how long that graduation's gonna be?
I really didn't care after about the third set of names. For you, you've spent your career at a smaller school. How do you feel about it?
I've taught most of my career at Ider, but I did teach 1 year at Springville back when they were about this size years ago. And I really do. And I went to school here at Ider. And just like they said, it's great to know everybody in your class. And, I also taught at a school, Ridgeland, that was a lot bigger in Rossville, Georgia, my first year teaching. And
That's a huge.
not to know everybody, it would bother me. It really would, because I would like to know, I like to know everybody that's in that, in the school, or at least in the class. So I enjoy a small school, in a small school setting. I think it brings the people more closer together. Community, it seems like it's more tighter, and closer together, because, they grow up together, they know each other. So I think, I think that's a great thing as far as these small schools go.
Absolutely. And McKinley, I'm not going to create an NCAA violation or anything, but because you've been on a podcast, I have certain coaches that's text me and said, "What do you think McKinley wants to do? Play softball or basketball?" So I gave no answer. So I'm not going to ask that question. That's yours. But I'm just going to tell you, you are a subject of conversation sometimes when the coaches gets my number. I was like, I was on a podcast with her. I don't know. So,
hello, guys. How's everything going?
Okay.
shut up, Howie.
Mr. Howie.
Hey, Howie. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, ladies, I got a question for you real quick. Is there any superstitions you got to do before you take the field?
Yes,
We throw
do,
up dirt,
actually.
and we have to pray before every game or we don't play good.
We break it down on positive polys.
Yep. And then we all line up on the third baseline or first baseline, whichever side we're on. And Julie says, 3 up, 3 down on 3, 1, 2, 3, and we all throw up the chalk.
That's great.
Well, I saw y'all the other day. Y'all were picking up dirt. It looked like you was being selective about it. I was wondering why y'all were doing it. I was afraid to ask. It looked like y'all were being selective with the dirt, and y'all was picking it up. So I was wondering about that myself.
I don't like to get a clump of dirt. I don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to fly.
And we
Yeah. Yeah.
we like to throw the chalk at the person to your left and right. We like to throw it on each other's pants to go ahead and get your pants dirty before we win. So,
I like mine with, like little splatters, like almost like a spotter ball gun.
then you have some people who make different designs and stuff, but I just throw it at people.
Now, I want to ask you one more question, and this
Hold
as
on.
far as
Let me
this
get
as far as boyfriends go. I want to ask you this
Hold on.
question. I know a lot of you
Hold
want
on,
to give
hold on,
shout
Phil.
out
Hold
to
on, Phil.
boyfriends.
Phil.
Yeah.
Hold on, Phil.
Uh-huh.
we got to get McKinley and Brinley's answer about.
Okay, well, good. Then I want to ask you about that.
Go ahead, McKinley.
Okay. What I enjoy about being a small school is you grow up with all your best friends and you get to go through everything with them. Like you have classes with them, you play sports with them, like you're with them 24/7. So like to say that these people aren't my best friends would be a lie. Like you know 95% of everything that's going on at the school. The teachers, they don't just care about the school, they care about you as an individual. It never fails. You walk in class, you look upset, a teacher looks at you, hey, like, you okay? You need to talk to anyone? Like, we're all really close. And I think that helps with being a small school because everyone gets involved with each other.
That's awesome. That sounds like hell. I didn't even know half my class. I think I graduated with 400 people. So it was really an environment. So Brinley, what do you think of going to a smaller school?
It definitely has its up and downs. Like everybody knows everybody's business, but I've gotten to grow up with all these people sitting beside me, so I really wouldn't trade it for anything. And I do think it makes us closer as a team. Like you said, unity. Our team's pretty close, and I think that's had a lot to do with our success. There's no drama across the team. We're just all in it together.
That's awesome. By the way, McKinley, I'll throw it back to Phil. I make up answers to a couple of the coaches that ask me questions. I have you playing croquet now in college.
Hey, well, that's fine. Yeah, well, of course, and y'all was talking about school-wise. I graduated with 36. I went to my niece's graduation a couple of years ago over in Atlanta, 850. And I had to sit through that whole thing. It was awful. So I know how that is. But yeah, I want to ask you about boyfriends. Now, when we talked to Fort Payne's baseball team, they quickly said that their girlfriends knew their place. So they didn't really want to talk about them. Is it a little bit different for y'all?
Hell yeah.
I want to know what Coach Hughes is thinking. That reaction
Yeah.
that Coach Hughes
Yeah.
just had.
Howie, do you feel like?
I think between these four, they probably rule the roost. You know, they probably got their boyfriends in line. You know.
Is it one of them that they get followed around like puppy dogs?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Word henpecked, but I don't know if anybody knows what it means anymore.
Yeah, Coach Hughes was laughing about that. He knows what it is.
Yeah.
He can explain it to him afterwards.
Wow.
You're trying to get these girls in trouble.
Oh.
Hey, y'all tell me about y'all
Hey, I
superstitions.
think
Coach
they can
Hughes,
handle
you have one.
themselves.
What?
Coach Hughes, your superstition before the game.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, if we done really well, we're gonna wear the same. We're gonna wear the same coaching shirt. Coach Traylor's probably gonna wear the same underwear and socks. And everything is the same. But we try to stay to, you know, what's been good as far as, you know, as far as our attire anyway. Now, as far as just certain things, we may change spots if something's been going good and I'm sitting on this side of him and then it starts going bad. We may kind of change, try to change the mojo a little bit. But I guess the big thing is probably, you know, what we wear as far as, you know, making sure we're wearing the same thing if things went good. Don't wear it if it went bad.
I don't know where have y'all been my whole life since I've been doing this, because y'all are the only ones that were like, yeah, we do this and do that. Everybody else like, no, we don't have nothing. And I know dang well that they do, but they're not going to tell us on the show.
Right.
Hey, girls, guys, best of luck to you. I just want to hop on and say hey and ask you my one question. Best of luck to y'all rest of the season. I will talk to y'all later.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right.
Phil, you got anything else? Because I'm sure they're tired of talking to me.
Yeah. Oh no. No. I just want to wish y'all the best of luck. I've enjoyed having you on. The ones of you that I've met, you know, I've enjoyed meeting, and maybe I'll see you in the future. Coach Hughes, I want to wish you the best. And one person you didn't talk about was Coach Traylor. He's a big part of this team.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. Like I say, he gives his time and to all his kids, and then he also finds time to help us out with softball, you know, and so he does a tremendous job. Great help along with Coach Elliott too, and then we have McKinley's sister that helps, Crimson Traylor. She helps us out. She's part of our coaching staff. And then also Morgan McKenzie, who actually, you know, teaches down at Fort Payne and then comes and helps coach, you know, our softball team too, help coach our softball team. So all those do a tremendous job, you know, for these girls.
Yeah, definitely so. Well, like I said, again, I want to wish y'all the best of luck. I've enjoyed having you on, and I hope to get to see y'all all in the future. And Randy, you can just take us out.
Well, I just want to give some advice. Nobody likes to be the dumb guy in a conversation. Just remember that, all you nuclear scientists.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, just because we went to Tennessee don't mean that we – yeah, it does. But anyway, it don't really matter at this point. Hey, I'd like to thank y'all for being here. It was a lot of fun. Phil Harris, Howie Cheney, Coach, young ladies, you're great. I appreciate your time. For everybody listening, God bless, and we'll catch you down the road.